happened, and you please comment. I want to hear y'all's comments. Please comment. I don't get very many, so please give me a comment on anything that you hear about the show or anything that interests you. What happened to what we once knew as NFL dynasties? And I know there's a lot of NFL fans out there that are young, and you probably don't really know what a dynasty is. A dynasty is um, more or less like teams that keep their players not just for 1 or 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, but longer than that. Teams that are very good, that gel together, and they keep that foundation and they don't deviate from it. Well, I can answer that. A lot of teams that the last team to have really built a dynasty probably was the New England Patriots when they won their back-to-back Super Bowls, and a lot of those players they pretty much kept together. Now, back in the 70s, back in the 80s, and back in the early 90s, you had teams like the San Francisco 49ers. You had the New York Giants. You had the Washington Redskins. You had Pittsburgh Steelers. Um, those teams were pretty much like dynasties because they pretty much not only drafted their players, but they kept them through many years. And those teams were the teams that were always winning, the teams that were always finding themselves in the playoffs, the teams that would always find themselves in championship games, the teams that would win the Super Bowl more than once. Well, in early, I believe it was 1992, 93, was the dawn and the birth of free agency. And when free agency came about in the 92, 93 season, um, it pretty much put like a padlock and a chain on teams that were in years earlier, decades earlier, together for a long time. Because free agency pretty much changed the whole plane of the NFL. Because now it's so much harder to keep more than one star player happy. Because if you have four or five, or example like the Steelers of the 70s, they probably had like about 12 or 13 all pros on that team. And can you imagine today having that many and trying to keep them happy and pay them? Yeah, it's probably it's nearly impossible to pay 12 or 13 all pro players and keep them happy on one team. So the game is it's a business. People leave teams, people go to other teams because they're paid more money. Some players are not happy, so in one organization, so they might want to go to a new landing place, a new change of scenery, but also that. So free agency pretty much changed the dynamics of years past of teams that stayed together as dynasties. So it's pretty hard to build a dynasty. Um, is it impossible now? I don't think it's impossible, but it's not easy um, because of because of the money game. So good players, they're always going to demand more money. Um, the longer they're in the league, their longevity, they keep that intensity and that high level of playing top notch. That demands more money. So sometimes it's not easy for an organization to make more than, I don't know, say like you have even now. I mean, you have like 5 or 6 or 7 all pro type players. How do you pay all of them at once? With the kind of ridiculous money that they make now, it's rough. So what we once knew as NFL dynasties hardly exist anymore because there's a lot of parity around the league. A lot of teams can be a cellar dweller one year, then the next year they're a playoff slash Super Bowl contender. What recipe or main ingredients does it take to build a Super Bowl contender? Now, please drop your comments. All my listeners, please drop your comments on. Let me know what you think about NFL dynasties. Is it can they still build them in today's game? Is it possible? I'd like to hear from you. What recipe or main ingredients does it take to build a Super Bowl contender? First of all, you have to have good management in your organization. You have to have a good general manager who knows um, how to spy talent, very good talent. You got to have a great coaching staff, um, a very experienced coaching staff, possibly of former players that are now coaches that know the game inside out, that know their X's and O's, if you will. Um, you need a great general manager. You need a great coach, a great fiery leader who knows how to rally the troops, who knows how to fire his players up, who knows how to game plan, who knows um, who knows how to analyze offenses of the other team and defenses, and who knows how to break them down, and who knows how to stymie the other team's game plan. You need a coach like that. You need a coach with a winning edge, a fiery coach who can, when his team is not playing on the highest level, he can get his players up and they can still win regardless. Someone that's always been a winner, that attitude bleeds off of him onto his players. That's the kind of, so a great GM, a fiery coach with a winning attitude, who is a great strategist, um, and you just need players that are very talented, that know how to get it done. That when crunch time comes, they find ways to win games. Um, you got to build a great offensive line, defensive line, have a great defense, a great running game, because when it gets cold in December, January, and February, you they know how to battle in the trenches. They know how to run the ball. They know how to open up holes, and they play stingy, tough defense. So um, those are some of the elements of what it takes to build a Super Bowl Super Bowl contender. Look at the Rams. Look at the Rams. They they did it. They won it last year. They had a great defense led by Aaron Donald. Great defensive line, good secondary, great field of linebackers. Um, they were clutch when they needed to. They stopped Tom Brady in the playoffs. Um, they they beat the 49ers. They won by defense. If you watch that game closely, their defense found a way to stop the 49ers. Their offense, um, what can I say? Odell Beckham, Cooper Cup. Um, they had a decent running game when they needed to run the ball. Matthew Stafford um, threw the ball, and a lot of times he was on point when he threw the ball. Their offense was good enough. They scored when they needed to, and their defense stymied the other team, and they won. They won their playoff games, and they got to the Super Bowl and got the opportunity to play in front of their own home crowd, and they did it. They have a great GM, very good head coach in Sean McVay, who is not even 40 years old yet and has already gone to taking his team to the second Super Bowl. The first one they lost to the Patriots, of course, when Tom Brady was still there, but this one they won, and I think I think they could possibly go there again. They have the talent to go back and repeat. Is it impossible? No. Will it be hard? Yes. Can it be done? Yes. Okay. So give me your comments, your thoughts on your recipe or main ingredients to build a Super Bowl contender. What does it take? So please share that with me. Love to hear from you. Okay. Who is going to the Super Bowl in the season 22-23 this year? Um, Please, and also for this, leave me your comments of who you think is going to the Super Bowl this year. Um, it's a toss up. Um, I think the Rams could possibly be there. Right now, I'm leaning between the Rams and Green Bay. If somehow Green Bay can find a wide receiver, because Aaron Rodgers had a phenomenal year last year, but I think if they um, can find the right pieces they need on defense, I can possibly see Green Bay going. So with me, it's a toss up between um, the Green Bay Packers and the LA Rams. Or actually, I believe these two will be in the championship game, the Rams and the Packers. So I'm going to lean with the Rams because of their defense. On the other side, I think that the Denver Broncos, with the new acquisition of Russell Wilson, the Broncos have a very stingy defense. And now with Russell Wilson coming aboard, I think that changed the dynamics for the AFC West, even with Kansas City and even with Buffalo from the AFC East looming. I can see the Rams against um, Denver. So I'm going to go on record and say that the LA Rams and the Denver Broncos will be in the Super Bowl next year. Um, I am your pigskin prophet. Thank you for joining me. On the next segment, I'm going to make it a two-parter. We're going to go more extensively into this year's draft. We're going to take a look at all the teams from rounds 1 to 7 and their picks. So I'll be going through those. And we'll have other things coming up. And also, stay tuned for the next second edition of my spinoff of my favorite team from Pro Football Chat, the Commander Salute. Going to be talking about their defense and talking about what they can do to win their division and possibly what they need to do to get to the playoffs and possibly the Super Bowl. So I'll be looking at those things. Thank you guys once again. Thank you guys for the Pro Football Chat, the premier championship show. Thank y'all for joining me. Love y'all. Much love. Thank you for your support. Hit that subscribe button if you're a first timer. And please comment in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. And I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.